The next type of reverb I'd like to talk about is actually an entirely different beast in many ways, and that's it's known as convolution reverb. Convolution reverb takes an impulse response, and so this is literally a recorded audio file of a reverberant or resonant space, and we capture an impulse response by obviously setting up a microphone somewhere that we want to in one of these spaces, and then setting off a sound event impulse. This is a momentary burst of sound energy that is that covers the entire frequency spectrum. Balloon pops, gunshots, and sometimes specific full frequency bursts of energy noise through a speaker can be used to excite a space so that we can record that impulse response of the space. The idea is that if we can excite all frequencies in a space at once and then record that resulting reverberation or resonance of that space, we can use this recording to make other dry sounds sound like they're occurring in that space. We do this by taking that impulse response file and matrix multiplying it. Those of you who have taken linear algebra will understand this. By each sample or moment in our source track file. I know that means not very much to most of you, but the main takeaway here is that we're actually creating reverberation signal processing plugins or effects affecting our track with real impulse, recorded impulses from real physical spaces. There's actually a number of really exciting things that we can do with this beyond that we'll get to here in just a few moments. But first, we need a convolution reverb. You downloaded one when you downloaded if you downloaded the Melda Productions set. So I'm going to open up my, we're going to go to Reaper here, and I'm going to open up my FX path. I'm going to make sure all these off. I'm going to add in a new reverb, and we'll go to Melda Production. And it is called M Convolution Easy. I'm going to add it in. There we go. Now, I thought this one would resize, but it does not. The controls on this are quite simple. We have a dry wet, a widening, a high pass, and a low pass, and then a normalize IR and a pre-delay value. And those are our settings by and large. There's some stuff over here, but we're going to actually ignore all of that. Now, you'll notice when you open up this reverb, there's a finder here on the left that allows us to choose different types of reverbs. So, oh, this is quite bad, but let's grab, okay, sorry, I had to pause it for a second. It was driving me nuts. Okay. If you open up settings, you can choose style, and then you can choose a different style. Hopefully you can find one, if you're having a hard time reading it, that reads a little bit easier on your screen. Looks like uranium might be the best for me. Resize. Oh, and then I can resize it. Oh, that makes it so much easier to see. Okay. There we go. Now let's move it so that you can see it yourself. You don't need all that. Perfect. So now we can listen to our sample.
Michael. Music.
Now let's pick a room.
Michael.
We'll pick
Music.
dark short ambience.
Michael. Music. Michael. Music.
Great. If I pick a different room,
Michael. Music. Michael. Music.
large tiled room,
Michael. Music. Michael. Music. Michael. Music.
convolution reverbs are useful and popular because they sound the algorithm required to make them sound better is quite simple compared to the design that goes into causing an algorithmic or Schroeder style reverb to sound really good. Again, convolution reverbs, if you have a good impulse response file, are essentially going to sound as good as your impulse response file. This is a great reverb, and it's going to sound really good in your sessions if you're trying to create realistic type sound processing. The downside to a convolution reverb is that they are computationally expensive. What I mean by that is that if you have a lesser CPU that doesn't have as fast of a clock speed, you're going to quickly run out of processing power on your computer if you have too many convolution reverbs or a really complex impulse response driving your convolution reverb. That is the downside to these, and one of the reasons that they are not used for all reverb reduction. Also, there's a lot of really great algorithmic Schroeder style reverbs. Let's listen to a couple sound design things here and see what they have in their box of tricks. Blade, curious.
Michael. Music.
Great.
Michael. Music.
Great.
Michael. Music. Michael. Music.
Did you ever curious what an egg sounds like?
Michael. Music. Michael. Music. Michael. Music.
And the great thing about these is we can actually use them to model, in this case, a guitar speaker. Because again, we just need any sort of impulse response file. And really, this can be any audio file that is a .FLAC or .WAVE audio file. Notice they have all kinds of great things in here. The other thing that's wonderful is you can actually load in your own impulse response file. So we've got Michael Music right now, but let's say we take Michael Music and I drag it from my Finder. Now notice it's giving me a custom path option and it's pulled up Michael Music. Now we're going to actually move this reverb over to our channel where we've got our graduate assistant saying numbers. I'm going to mute Michael Music and turn on that track. And let's listen, and we'll extend our loop point out a little bit here. Sorry, hold on. Let me open up my effects for that track, actually.
7, 2, 8, 5, 7, 2, 8, 5, 7, 2, 8.
So you can start to hear how we're convolving Cole saying numbers with the essentially what's serving as an impulse response of me saying my name, Michael Music. This is really powerful. We can do a lot of things with this. So I'm going to pause this for a second and look for some sort Okay, I found I've got this in beer. I carry a bag of toy instruments with me for my musical and art process. So this is a beer or a finger piano. Uh, sounds quite nice. I love the way this thing sounds. But let's say we wanted to use this as our impulse response for our work here. I'm going to close our file here. I'm going to mute this for a moment. I'm going to create a new audio track. I'm going to open up my preferences. I'm going to make sure that my input is set to be my microphone that's coming in at the moment. Apply OK. And now I'm going to mute the output of this track so that it doesn't cause a nasty feedback cycle in my office. But I will then put it in record arm mode. And notice that it's picking up signal. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be quiet for a moment, and I'm going to record the sound of this into Reaper. Great. And that last one will be the best because it didn't clip. So we'll take this out of record mode now. Now I can unmute this. We will zoom in, and I'm going to... Good, we're not on magnet right now, so I'm going to zoom in real close there. And I'm going to place my playhead right where this impulse sound starts. Let it S. And I don't want to lose any of this, so we're just going to create the shortest of fade-ins. Oh, and you can't see that. So let me undo some of this and do away with myself so that you can see my full screen. Now, as I said, I was zooming in, so this is where we're at. We've got these 3 impulses, but the first 2 clip. And so I want this second one, and we'll listen to it here in just a second to confirm that. I'm going to zoom in on it. I'm going to place my playhead right before it and hit the S key. I don't want to lose too much of it, so I'll create the smallest of fades, and I'm going to delete everything before it. And now let's listen back to this impulse and see what it sounds like. And we'll just shorten it up here for a second. Lovely. And I'm going to open up properties for this, and I'm just going to normalize it. Normalize, apply, okay. And then finally, I am going to render item as a new take. Nope, excuse me. Okay, I forgot. I'm actually going to go File, Render, and where it says Source, I'm going to say Selected Media Items. So I'm going to get one media item, and that's my time bounce. And I'm going to name this as Finger Piano IR. And that's a fine place to render this out to for the time being. And we want to save this as a wave. We're going to do this as a 24-bit PCM for the purposes of this convolution reverb. Wonderful. And I will render one file out. Notice we are done. I can now show in Finder and then close this. Now I will mute this track. Unmute our number countdown track. Actually, first, I will unmute Michael Music track, shorten this up, open up the convolution reverb, and then drag this file onto it. Now notice it's created a custom path to Finger Piano. And if we play this back,
Michael. Music.
Let me turn looping back on.
Michael, music. Michael, music. Michael, music. Michael, music. Michael, music. Michael, music. Michael, music.
And this is fascinating to me, that we can actually take any sort of audio file and use that as our impulse response for our convolution reverb. We can even actually go to somewhere like Free Sounds and search for anything that we might want to do. We could look for an impulse response files specifically, just with IR, and a number of things come up. But we could also look for more interesting types of sounds to convolve with this. So let's say reverse explosion. I don't know what that would come up like. Let's see what this sounds like. 6 seconds on. Wonderful. So I'm going to click into here. I'm already logged in. And again, we need a wave or a FLAC. So this is a wave type. So I'm going to download this. And then in Reaper, I'm going to grab this file, drop it in. We now have this in. And again, let's turn the volume down so we don't blow anything up and see what this sounds like. Crazy. All right, let's copy it over now to our number segment. We'll mute this track. We'll unmute this one. Let's just see what this sounds like if we run this through here. Hold on.
7.
Oops. Sorry, in the wrong place. So let's copy over this one again.
5. 7. 2. 8. 5. 7.
Point being, any file that you can come up with, you can use as a convolution, as a file impulse response for your convolution reverb. This opens up a ton of possibilities for sound design purposes, as well as experimental art and music possibilities. I hope it's something that you'll explore and take advantage of.